The ongoing legal case involves the Supreme Court and the EPA, which could significantly alter automotive production strategies and fuel prices. The repercussions of this case may extend far beyond immediate outcomes. California's authority to enforce stricter emissions regulations has historically driven innovations in cleaner technologies, shaping environmental policies on both national and global scales for decades. The recent weakening of the Chevron doctrine raises serious concerns about the future of state-level environmental policies. While a uniform standard might lower costs, it risks undermining local regulatory power. Revoking California's emission standards could set a precedent for other states, such as New York and Oregon, compelling them to adopt weaker federal guidelines. This shift could transform environmental regulation nationwide. The Supreme Court's ruling may restrict state-level decision-making in various environmental sectors, such as clean energy policies and water quality regulations, further concentrating authority within federal agencies. Federal agencies are actively undermining California's regulatory framework, diminishing enforcement efforts, and supporting lawsuits from the industry. This ongoing political and regulatory conflict carries significant implications for environmental policy across the nation. The oil industry's lobbying for national standards strives to dismantle California's stringent regulations, seeking to preserve its dominance in high-emission fuels. This pressure underscores the economic motivations at play. The automotive industry currently finds itself at a pivotal crossroads, weighing the choice between adapting to stricter emissions regulations or persisting with traditional gasoline production in light of shifting consumer demands. Companies like Tesla and Rivian, which prioritize clean energy, may gain from regulatory rollbacks, as this could clarify the market for sustainable transportation. Despite potential changes in government policies, consumer interest in electric vehicles remains robust. The potential rollback of emission standards may lead to short-term reductions in gas prices, but historical trends indicate that these price drops might be temporary, influenced by global markets and supply chain complications. Electric vehicle buyers could encounter difficulties due to uncertainties surrounding emissions regulations, which may hinder investments in essential charging infrastructure and tax incentives, ultimately deterring prospective consumers. Weaker emission standards could result in a narrower range of electric vehicle options, constraining consumer choices and stunting progress in clean technology. In contrast, gasoline vehicles may become more affordable in the short term. The federal government's decision to implement uniform regulations may prioritize cost savings over sustainability, negatively impacting the production of electric vehicles and slowing advancements in clean technologies. Should California forfeit its leadership role, other states like New York and Oregon might attempt to fill the gap by adopting analogous emissions policies, although enforcing these regulations could present considerable challenges without federal support. California could seek alternative methods to uphold environmental standards, such as leveraging trade laws or exercising its purchasing power. This approach might sustain higher standards despite federal rollbacks and promote industry compliance. California's leadership in environmental activism may galvanize public pressure on lawmakers to adjust policies in response to regulatory rollbacks, potentially creating demand for elevated environmental standards. The international ramifications of the ruling may introduce diplomatic tensions, as other countries strengthen emissions regulations while the U.S. retracts its own. Trade restrictions could ultimately disadvantage American manufacturers. Future federal emissions policies remain uncertain, with possible new regulations emerging based on public demand and political pressure. However, legislative bottlenecks and industry lobbying might obstruct meaningful reform efforts.